Hey there, if you clicked on this video, that means that you're looking for a way to target e-commerce brands and sort of take a different approach than how most people approach cold outbound, specifically to e-commerce brands, just because they get pitched a ton. So in this video, I'll be showing one way that you can sort of pull data from the internet to help you write super relevant pitches. Um, and as well just help you sort of figure out how to get more segmented with your list building as well. So in this video, I'll be going over targeting like travel brands. So think like luggage brands, honestly, primarily luggage brands, just because in this sort of specific case is very, very relevant. And take this from the angle that you are a sort of a brand that helps, or sorry, you're an agency that helps e-commerce brands put in place sort of an organic TikTok strategy. So what we'll be doing is pulling a few key data points from these brands TikTok and then converting that into a message. I'll be showing you how to do that at scale, so you can build this template once and never have to worry about how to build it again. And I will also be giving you a link to the template in the description if that's something that you're looking to do as well. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. So now we're in Clay. So this is a tool, if you're not familiar, that can really help you with your cold outbound efforts. One of the biggest sort of elements is that it lets you pull information from a lot of different sources and sort of aggregate it in one place. Something that you can't really do um, at scale if you're sort of going through like one platform, exporting the list, going to the next platform, exporting the list. It is a very, very tedious process. So Clay helps you sort of put all of these different tools into one sort of main table for you to help you organize all of your ideas and just at the end of the day, just make your life a lot easier, because as soon as we sort of want to add more companies, in this case right here, we could just go plus, add more companies, and then all of the rows would sort of enrich automatically. And then we'd be able to add that to a campaign without ever having to think about the steps in between. So that's really the main benefit of Clay. In this specific case, we were using store leads as the sort of main data source. Biggest reason store leads is a super good source for e-commerce brands. So we kept the criteria super broad. So we were just looking for Shopify brands, just Shopify brands, but then there's all these options that we could also sort of export individually as well. And then you could also add technologies that you want to find. And then I just put a very broad, just travel category in here for the US. And then I just wanted a small list to build the concept. So what you can get from these store leads output is a lot of data. So you can see all the apps that are connected to this e-commerce brand, what city they're in. You can get their logo as well if you were looking for that. Lots and lots of data that you can get. Just wanted to scroll through this just to show you guys. But yeah, so you get all that information. All I wanted was just their company name, their description, their employee count, what city they're in, make sure they're in the US, all of their categories that they're involved. So we scraped like this category of just travel, right? But what you can sort of see is like this here, like initially falls into beauty and fitness, and then it falls into fitness, and then it falls into travel. This one's travel, toys, hobbies, arts and crafts. So that brings us to our next problem, where we need to make sure that these brands are actually travel brands. So that's why I built this prompt right here using 4.1 Mini, using our own ChatGPT API. You could also use the Clay Open AI account, but then it costs credits to run this. So sort of a simple prompt. We're just giving a context. You're an AI assistant trained to look for any company in the travel or travel accessory space. Here's the inputs that I have for you. Determine if they're involved in travel, things like luggage, backpacks, packing cubes, neck pillows, toiletry bags, etc. Basically the main goal here was just giving it context of what travel gear might be, what apparel for travel might be, what travel accessories might be, and then to score it on a scale from 1 or from 0 to 10, just to help it sort of make that decision between yes or no. And this is really useful, right? Because a brand like SoulGuard is definitely a travel slash like travel accessories brand. But then let's look at the outputs for no right here. Like let's look at unclaimed baggage. They fell into the travel category in store leads. But they're a retailer that resells sort of lost luggage. So it's sort of the main reason why it's really important to sort of verify if your targeting is on point, just because sending to these people would just not be relevant to our specific case, and it would just be wasted volume, which hurts deliverability, and so on and so forth. So now that once that we have the verified travel brands, the next step is to extract their TikTok accounts. In this case, I extracted their Instagram and TikTok accounts. So the first way that we did this, because you notice there's a part one, initially just what we did was just Google these brands. So Google the company's name and then also add Instagram and also add TikTok, and then also gave it some guidance for how it should output. One thing that I noticed at the end is that 3 of these brands didn't have, like, we couldn't find TikTok brands for them. But when I was doing a manual search, I knew that they existed. So what I did as a part 2 was to go to the company's domain and look for any URLs on the website that might start with Instagram or TikTok, and then clean it up to output it and give it back to me in this format right here. So that way we were able to get full coverage for these brands, and then we are ready to move on to our next step. So the next step is an Abify actor, where here we are scraping for all of their most recent TikTok posts. So I scraped just the 10 most recent posts, just because there's enough data to tell us how the content was doing, because again, the 3 points that we were looking for and the pain points that we want to mention as the sort of TikTok organic content agency is, do they have low views on their account? Do they have low engagement on their account? And are they not posting often enough? 3 really easy things that we can sort of call out that help us determine if they're a good fit, and also shows if they need the support, right? So we scrape all 10 posts, and here you can see, like, it takes you to the actual TikTok post, and you can see all 10 of these. What was the text, or what was the description? You can see the the music that was used. You can also extract the video. A lot of that you can collect from this, but what I was looking for was how many likes do they have, how many comments do they have, how many shares do they have, and how many total plays do they have. Then as well, extracted just sort of, if we couldn't get 10, just get the full number of videos that we are able to extract. And then here, just a quick formula to divide the number of views by the number of videos, just to get sort of an average view count, and then as well the engagement rate on those posts. And then that third point that I mentioned, how much time did it take them to post all 10 videos? So extract the date from the first video and the most recent one. So I did this a few weeks ago, so that's why all of these dates are a while ago, but I think I did this on the 9th of July or something. So this first brand was really, really active. So if we just build a quick formula, determine how many weeks it's been between the posts, we know that for this first brand, it took them 1 week to post all 10. The second brand, it took them 28 weeks, next 8 weeks. So that's a really good sort of indication that for this brand specifically, that they need a little bit of like support on the content frequency side of things. So that's a good point. And then as well, just did a quick breakdown of how many posts per week are they posting. So now we're ready to sort of build our indicators for those pain points. So the first one, as a reminder, was the views one, right? So what's their average view count? And the way that this works was, if they had over 50,000 views, this wasn't a pain. Like, on average, if they're getting more than 50K views, they're doing solid. So we'd score them at a 0. If they had 20,000 views, or like between the 20,000 and 50,000, we'd score them as a 2, 10,000 a 4, 5,000 a 6, 2,000 an 8, and anything below 2,000, they'd be scored as a 10. So a 10 out of 10 pain in terms of videos or in terms of view count. And then the next element that we did was the the engagement number, right? So built some numbers here. So over 2.5%, they're not dealing with this as a pain. below 2.5 and between 1.5, right? So build this criteria here, just so we get an idea of, cool, we know that, like, let's look at this example right here. They scored a 10 out of 10 in terms of engagement rate, and they're getting a 0.16% engagement rate. So it makes complete sense. Then on the third level, what we're looking for was just posting frequency. So how many weeks did it take them to post all of those videos? And that's where we're looking at this specifically. So we can see it right here. The first brand, they posted all 10 videos in the first week. So this isn't a pain for them. This second brand, it took them 28 weeks to post all 10. So it's a 10 out of 10 pain, and so on and so forth. So now that we have all of this data, the next question becomes, how can we use these three sort of indicators to our advantage while we write copy, and also determine which of these companies should we be targeting first? So that's where sort of a summary prompt comes in, where all you're really doing is just giving it all the information of these pain points and what they mean, and then just helping you sort of just put a quick summary. So let's look at the first two, right? So this brand is doing relatively well. They don't have a ton of pain, 4, 4, and a 0. So let's see what the summary says. The company shows moderate evidence and a somewhat unconvincing level of proof across indicators, but compensates with very active operations and a strong strategic approach despite facing notable challenges. Cool. And then the second one, where they're struggling a little bit more, the company's facing significant challenges with low audience reach, overall below average performance, and minimal activity. So still very accurate with what we sort of saw here. And then as well, we're able to sort of recapture and get the full picture on, again, another scale from 0 to 10, or sorry, this says 1 to 10, but it should be 0 to 10, where we can just get the average that across the board, the first brand scored a 3 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 6 out of 10, and it helps us sort of prioritize which brands should we target first. Then we're just looking for somebody in the social media space, using Apollo as an integration. So here we're able to just extract anybody we find, get their information, and then just for the proof of this, or sorry, just for the sake of this video, I put together sort of personalized lines. So here, what we're doing is, again, we're using Claude, use the Clay integration, which is very, very helpful. Give it some context of what we are, give it all the information of sort of the summary and all the data points and the indicators, gave it all of the sort of rules that we mentioned, and then as well, sort of what would a potential answer look like depending on these numbers. How should it sort of speak these? So let's look at a few of these examples. So, hey Kaylee, I've been following Wolfpack's TikTok presence. While you're crushing it with consistent posting and solid views, I noticed your 1.25% engagement rate suggests there's untapped potential in your content strategy. We helped XYZ brand achieve this using our approach. Want to explore how we could do this for Wolfpack. So this isn't like perfect copy, but it gives you the general gist of what sort of the opening line could look like, where let's look at another example. Hey Maya, and I'll just remove this right here, just so we look at just this. So notice Tom Bin's TikToks, sounds good, are averaging under 2,000 views despite solid engagement rates, which suggests great content that's just not reaching enough eyes. So then we can sort of, if we had another sort of variant, we could run a pitch where, if this is the sort of issue, we direct it more towards that, because it's more relevant to this client, because we're basing, instead of sort of assuming they might be struggling with TikTok or struggling with like sort of content ideas or posting frequency, we can just look at the data of what their account looks like and have a really specialized pitch for that business. So that's really the main sort of benefit and very cool use case for this type of table. And let's just look at this last table right here to finish this. Hey Taylor, I noticed SoulGuard's TikToks are averaging just over 1K views, surprisingly low for your brand size and quality, while your 2.48% engagement shows people love your content. When they see it, the algorithm needs more consistency to amplify your reach. So a lot of this can sort of be played with. Like, this is a little bit long of an opening line, but the idea is there where this can be, for sure, this can be shortened, but you're averaging this. We know your brand's good. Your engagement rate's good. You just need to sort of pick up and be more consistent first, right? Because let's look at this. Their consistency, or you know what, they're still pretty consistent. So maybe, if I'm not mistaken, it took them 8 weeks to post all 10 videos. They could be more consistent, and they could also try to sort of attract, maybe not attract, that might not be the right word, but just have like viral-esque type content that might attract more people. But yeah, so that's the end of this video. I hope you found it useful. Again, the link to this template will be in the description below, so you can use it for yourself. And let me know if there's anything you think is missing from this table. And yeah, all right, so that's it for this video. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.